Hi guys, this is Emnel from Emnel Gamer, and we are back in Hearthstone 4, playing as Japan. First thing today, I actually loaded more NATO counters mod that should allow us, they are, to use some other NATO counters instead of those silly symbols that were up here. So this is that tank-ish divisions that we have, and I think this is a good symbol for it. This basically means infantry reinforced with some heavy equipment. What else we can do? This is cavalry, so that's alright. Motorized, alright. Marines, we have 2 marines, and those have artillery in them. So let's see if there is a similar symbol for marines. Oh, there it is. So for now we will use this symbol for our heavier version. So you can see that they aren't perfect yet. There is some tilt to them. The border on the right is black for no reason and whatnot, but they are still better than those basic symbols, I would say. Right, and I guess we'll use for those we'll use the garrison symbol. And here we go. We're set here, I think. Alright, do they show up here? Perfect. So as you can see here, we have 7 out of our 10 marines here. 7 are basic stuff, and 3 are the upgraded versions. Some artillery. Good. And in the meantime, someone asked me on Reddit about leaving the Soviet border open. As you can see, they have quite a lot of it here. And, well, if they attacked us, it would be a major problem. But I think we would be able to establish some kind of defense, either here, along those rivers, and along those mountains, or if everything goes to shit, simply around the top of the Korean peninsula. The only 2 ports that we care about are here and here. Well, the only 2 ports that are here are. So I think it would be, even with as much power as they have there, we would be able to strategically redeploy to those mountains and keep all the important stuff before we are able to either push against them, or we would be just have to split our forces between defending Korea and establishing a perimeter here after conquering Beijing area, and just supplying ourselves from the ports. We would make landings here and here, but the ones that we are actually already preparing, and after securing those 3 ports, we should be able to supply our troops even after losing most of Manchuria. So that's my contingency plan, and I think it's well worth gambit to basically leaving this border open for a chance of securing China faster, due to putting more forces into that. On top of that, if I remember correctly, yes, they are doing a great purge. What that means is great purge takes 3 times the normal focus, so 210 days. That means 2 things. First, they won't go into any crazy foci that can lead them to, for example, war with Japan. And second is, long after the purge, for, as you can see, 583 days, they will suffer officers' purge penalties that, among other things, will lower their organization by 20%, making them quite easy to counter, on top of the fact that 1936-37 Soviet army wasn't that great to begin with. Even even compared to our ragtag units. So I'm not too concerned about them, despite those fairly menacing presence around here. But just remember, we wouldn't have to defend all of that. There isn't much here to begin with. Like those parts of Manchuria are fairly pointless. So as long as we can establish a defensive line here, we are set. Right, with that out of the way, let's take a look at our recruitment. Especially, let's take a look at our state of. Oh, yes, that's what I feel. We still are using some basic equipment in our divisions, and to counteract that, well, we are building more and more weapons, obviously, and it will take us what 43 days to have all the infantry equipment we need from the get-go, not counting when the bullets start flying, and the use then. But what we wanted to do in this situation is, if we look here, okay, those guys have all infantry equipment 1, those have some basic equipment, and those have some basic equipment. We want more of them. Okay, what we are going to do is we'll put upgrades first and recruitment later. Those guys have full equipment already, so they will finish training. Those barely started, and well, they would be finished by April 26. By 26th of April, we'll be already at war, but that's alright. We'll continue training them actually, but we will be using equipment that is okay. What will happen is the basic equipment that we have on our fighting units will be replaced with infantry equipment, and this basic equipment will be used here to train our units, and then it will be replaced. So that's our goal. This is a bit risky to keep training them because I believe that our ammo consumption and whatnot will overtake our production once we start fighting, especially here. But we want more units to be able to perform more naval invasions, either in Netherlands once we start the war, or in Siam, or indeed at the coast of China, which will be instrumental to us winning the war in a timely manner. Those are doing alright, so let's leave it. And then we'll obviously then, once the war starts, prioritize reinforcements over the rest, for obvious reasons. So let's do that. I'll actually okay. Let's leave it at 3. Actually, that would be prudent, I believe. How long we are till war with China? 50 days, and then I believe I don't think it starts outright. Yes, we gain conquer focus, and we have 30 days to use it. Sadly, that won't land us anywhere near the time this allows us to declare war here. So most likely, once we declare war on China, this will jump up tension, and that will mean the Netherlands will be guaranteed. We'll have to decide either we want to go for. Okay, so 2 things finished. Our support weapons. We'll have to decide if we want to go for actual war with the UK outright. I'm tempted, but also don't think we'll have my. We'll see how perhaps our initial offensive around here will go well. Speaking of which, let's see how what do we know about them. So they have between 50 and 96 divisions, probably somewhere in the middle, so let's say 70, compared to our 60. They do, however, they most likely have the most of the basic equipment at this point in time, so we should be able to outgun them. What they are doing is armament effort free though, and that means they are gaining military factories for us to take, which is nice. For a second I thought that was providing the for a second I thought that was providing bonuses such as research bonuses for infantry equipment or so, but nope. I'm not well versed in this generic tree just yet. I only did some testing. I haven't really played a campaign with non-major nation. I think that's, well, it's important to establish a baseline on how the major nations play. Right, we finished 3 technologies, as you can see. Choices, choices, choices. We are on in January 37. That means we are coming here, and we are basically taking all the 3 of those. I know that we are going to war fairly soon, but it still means that and we could go with more combat-oriented technologies such as radio that we are still missing right here, which is a fairly important one, or indeed an artillery bonuses. But I don't think we can sacrifice our gimped industry to that end. And what those one of the things that finished here actually was a concentrated industrial one that increased our factory output by 20%, which is huge for us and should allow us to catch up much faster with our needs. Not sure if that updated yet, but what that means is okay. Let me quickly explain how this whole thing works. So the prices here in resources basically mean that one operating factory needs that much equipment, and the price here means how much production power do we need to produce one thing. Our factories have a basic output. As you can see, basic output is 5, and then it's cut by production efficiency to 35% in our case, and then other bonuses like limited exports and the concentrated industry 1 that we just finished are applied. That means that in this case it means that our production output from those factories is 2.18, which means that each of our factories is almost producing 1 unit of motorized equipment per day. It's the same everywhere here, unless obviously unless production efficiency of this line hasn't caught up yet. So that's basically it. I think it's pretty easy to understand. It's only in the tooltips actually, a huge improvement over many Paradox titles where you have to. Well, there are still things you need to learn by scouring through game files or making testing stuff for hundreds of hours, but they're fairly limited compared to the previous titles. Okay, this is less than ideal because we've just thrown more units there before our port had a chance to finish. We'll probably have to pull out a bit more because, if you recall from yesterday, we were at the very limit of our infrastructure. Someone could see that there is an infrastructure effort here that would increase infrastructure in those 3 provinces. We are not going for it, however, because if we go back to infrastructure mode, we see that the bottleneck here actually isn't our principal infrastructure in the region, but the port that carries resources, carries supplies for us from mainland. So that's why we are investing in the post production, and we'll be done with our first of those upgrades in a week. So we should survive. Oh yes, as you can see, we are starting to suffer some attrition. Here it doesn't touch ideals. This is an automated pop-up. Few of those happen when you justify moral goals, which is actually a pretty neat thing because, well, it's okay. Are you guys moving or what that you are suffering the attrition here? No, plenty where. Stop it. Attrition 2%, yeah, for lack of resources, but as you can see, they are throwing more and more troops in here, which is either good or bad, depending on how well we will be able to contain all those troops here. Those, especially those two provinces, won't be walking the park, and our main goal will be to encircle them and try to deal with them that way, but it all hinges on our ability to push through this province before they throw, for example, another 10 divisions there. We have another marine division here. What we are going to do is add it to this order. That will increase slightly the time needed for this invasion to prepare, but we are still ahead of time. Are we? Not well, kind of. As you recall, we still have a month, but I think it's worth it. I will later. Okay, I'm actually doing. I was talking about how most of the things are well explained in this game, and naval invasions aren't. There are barely any tooltips. If you hover here, it just means naval invasion capacity and transport ship plus 10. Transport ship is actually a name of a technology, which is, I'd say, pretty. It's possibly confusing because you can see that it allows you for 10 more transport ships, perhaps. And as you can see, we have 10 transport. That would mean that probably means that we are at the limit, right? Nope. What naval invasion capacity means is that we can perform a naval invasion or invasions at the same time using up to 10 divisions. And it doesn't matter if those divisions have, and you would also think, if you're a reasonable person, that weight stat plays a major role in this, and it's best to perform naval invasions with less heavy units. For example, here we have added artillery that increased our weight by 0.5. But that's not really true either. As you can see, the transport ship tech affects the weight of our units for naval invasions and convoys, which is alright, but all that weight does is affects how many convoys we will need to use for our invasion, and that's it. And it doesn't. And tech doesn't limit the amount of convoys we can use. All it limits is the number of divisions we can throw. Those can be divisions made of a single battalion, if we so desire, or those can be divisions made of, I don't know, 5x5, 25 battalions of infantry or heavy tanks, if we want. Doesn't matter. 10 divisions. That's it. So this is. I'm actually working on, and there is much more to that. when it ties to the whole naval situation and navy management, it's actually a big mess, whole naval invasion system. And today or tomorrow, should be a very extensive guide on that on my channel. Hopefully, as you can see, this is going to be a step up in required video full for me, from just recording stuff to actually using doing some editing and shit. So I'm not promising. All right, I've been talking and I've been failing. We are 16 days over time, as we mentioned. The two major things we want to do with our political power is go to wars. See, I'm in Netherlands. We already spent 49 points to start going for Netherlands, but due to the fact that we will be above 25% tension, I'm not willing to risk another 100 days worth of political power, and we are going to use it elsewhere. Two possible solutions are Silent Warhorse plus 15%, and that would put us at effective 0.8 gains after all the spendings and penalties. But that, as you can easily count, means he would pay for himself in 500 days, and we are not in a position as Japan to do such investments so early on. We'll have to wait. We don't have like some nations, guys, that increase the speed of construction of civilian or military factories, so that's out of the picture. Those are research and production concerns and theorists. We are not as well. It would be nice to have research doctrine doctrine research time lower, but those are way out of our reach point wise. So we don't really care about army experience gain, because we'll be doing a lot of fighting, which will provide much more than they can possibly provide. So those are also of a lesser concern. Research, it's nice, but it's not worth it. The most important tech most of the time, and in our situation as well, is war economy. As you can see, the military factory construction speed will go up by 10%, which is nice. It's a nice boost. But what's more important is that a consumer good factories requirement is 15% compared to 20%. That means that the amount of factories we will use for consumer goods that are wasted civilian factories will go down, and this is what we are going to do, and that will in turn allow us to produce military and civilian factories faster, yada yada yada. Here we go. Spent, as you can see, it went down to 7. We have so it's, as you can see, it rounds it up. We have 61 civilian and military factories, and we are using 10% of our factories for consumer goods. 15% is a base from war economy that we just taken, and minus 5% from imperial austerity. That's it. 10. Sadly, that 61st factory tipped, put us over a limit, but well, another 9 will be scot-free. So let's. As you can see, I'm really a glass half full kind of guy. War with China, 15 days. Okay, I think this is a time. Yes, I will keep pausing. I'm sorry. this is time we should take a look at our air force. Why I haven't done it just yet is because, well, our air force will be mostly out of range for a foreseeable future. Well, till we capture this, basically. But let's make our air wings, shall we? So what we want to do is 100 our air wings of size 100. The reasons are basically two. One, the capacity of airfields is the level of airfields ranging from 1 to 10 times 200. So it's from 200 to it's rising in increments of 200. We could go for 200 size air wings, but then we couldn't, for example, use one wing of fighters and one of bombers. And we'll soon enough get some fighters, some aces, I'm sorry, I meant aces. And those aces will provide us with bonuses, and those bonuses are fitted for 100 people air wings. If we use ace for 50 people air wing, those bonuses would double. If we use for 200 people air wing, those bonuses would go in half. And I do believe that with high amount of active air wings, we have a higher chance of getting aces. Although I'm still doing some testing with it, so don't quote me on that just yet. As you can see, we don't have much in terms of air wings. We would have to use okay, just for the sake of it, let's put it to 200. You basically click here and you can shift click to change it by 10. This is the limit. If we were to build some more of those carrier stationed fighters, they would be as you can see here, we can't mix and match standard ones and carrier ones, hence what I'm doing here. Okay, interval bombers, let's just put 200 for the sake of clarity. We may capture some or something, who knows. Alright, so some bombers and how about those? Yes, let's. Okay, yeah, let's do that, I guess. We don't have many planes, so we want to use most of them from the get-go. Cars, naval bombers. We don't really care about naval bombers. We'll place them later. Okay, those. Let's leave those as they are. Actually, there will be some losses, so. But I'm doing that so I can put them to action early on, but it's more prudent solution is to just redeploy them here later, because when they move from airfield to airfield, there will be some losses due to accidents and whatnot. But let's not stress about that. Okay. I'm determined to at least get towards the end of this. We're using some quite a lot of basic infantry equipment here, as you can see, since the equipment is being replaced on the in the front lines. We're still missing 10,000 for the upgrades. We are getting there. I think that's it. We won't be building much more just yet. Oh, and I believe we finished this port, haven't we? Yes. That means we can add our poor little guy here, and he can get some planning bonuses as well before the war starts. Gainer here is 2% per day, so he needs 25% to reach the max, which is alright. We won't be starting the war outright, I believe. war with China. Alright. The Marco Polo Bridge incident proved that the Chinese were not interested in cooperation, with increasing tension threatening the ensuing ceasefire. War may be the only means to bring the order to the Chinese nation. Right. Alright, let's think, where do we want to go? So the most important focuses, foci that are left here are, well, the next two major ones are improved national spirit. We'll need to be at war, and we need to choose one of those. So that's one. And the second one is obviously an extra research slot. And so problem here is like, okay, we can found a faction. It will even give us some political power for our travel, which is nice. And it may give us more things to do late game, assuming we'll survive all the things. And for example, Germany wins the war, captures Soviet Union and whatnot. It will allow us to fight them later on, which would be an interesting late game thing to do. On the other hand, joining Axis would allow us to call them into the Netherlands war, and they would take mainland Netherlands, and according to my tests, they would take quite a few islands here, but, and they would take, we would be able to, I was at least, when I've tested it twice, I was able to get Borneo, Sumatra, Java, and what was the name of that? Sulawesi, right? So basically all the rubber except those MISD 18 on here, which would be nice. But to do so, we would have to go to war to against Netherlands first, secure all that, and once we are wrapping this up, call them into the war, and only then go to call them in. Another problem is that since our war with Netherlands will probably bring United Kingdom and France into the war, that can mess with Germany pretty badly if we pull them into that, and they will end up at war with France and United Kingdom outright. AI, paradox and AI. So, and since we are doing historical focuses, that can prove problematic. It could prove great, and they would, for example, sweep France out, sweep through the France in 37. But that would have other problems of trivializing the whole World War II thing. So I think we will have to wait with our decision to go with either Axis or alone till we know how the situation with Netherlands develops. It would be easier for us if we went with Axis actually, because if we end up at war with United Kingdom, they would suffer the brunt of the fighting, and colonial forces. UK colonial forces around here are pretty strong, but I think that's something we should be able to handle on our own, even when at war in China. But for that reason, we will hold on for our political power. As you can see, +1 political power gain. That would put us, after all the penalties, at 1.25, which is a massive increase for us. Don't look at that, we haven't picked the focus, so our actual gain, focus always takes 1, so our actual gain is 0.5. And for that very reason, we are going for research slot first, and we'll because this doesn't really give us much. Like 7% land research doctrine won't make or break the Chinese campaign anyway. So let's take a bonus of our own and then go for extra research slot, which will be very, very handy because as you saw, we really had no choices for those three, right? Like those were no brainers, and we are missing some important techs. We have, let me see, I believe 1 month. It should be. Oh. Okay. Oh, never mind. We have a year for that. Interesting. 2 years. I'm sorry. But we are not. Okay, that leaves us an important. Okay, we'll talk about it in the next video since we are out of time now. So thanks for watching, and I'm actually. This is a 6th video, so if you haven't liked or subscribed yet, please do. That will help me by perhaps providing more viewers and allow me to produce more videos. So once again, thanks for watching and see you again.